While everyone's busy talking about the usual suspects, the breakout stars, the well paid veterans, and the returning heroes, there's something else quietly brewing behind the scenes that could very well shake the foundation of this team in a way we haven't seen since the arrival of Aiden Hutchinson. And if you're not paying attention yet, you better start now because the Detroit Lions might have just uncovered their most important rookie. And nobody saw it coming, not even their most loyal fans. And that rookie's name is Ahmed Hassan, a sixth round defensive end who, if we're being honest, was barely on anyone's radar during draft weekend. But now he's got the coaches buzzing, players talking, and fans who dig a little deeper starting to whisper, wait a minute, did we just land a monster in the sixth? And I don't throw words like that around lightly, but the signs are all there. And before we dive into why this matters so much, take a second, really take a second and ask yourself, how long have you been watching this team? How long have you been riding this wave of heartbreak, hope, and hunger for something real? Was it since Barry spun defenders into the turf like ghosts? Since Calvin jumped over three guys at a time and walked away like nothing happened? Or maybe you're newer, still tasting the electricity of the 2023 playoff surge, that magical run that made everyone say, wait, the Lions are for real. Wherever you fall, drop it in the comments because I promise you, this moment we're in right now, this offseason, this training camp, it's about to become a chapter in Lions history. And what happens next could depend on guys you've barely heard of. And it starts with Hassan, a player who wasn't supposed to be the story, but now is the story. And I need you to understand why. Because it's not just that he had an amazing college stat line, though, yes, 35.5 tackles for loss, 22 sacks over 2 years, and the most TFLs in the country last season is absurd on its own. It's about how he plays, why he's different, and what it means for a team that's been begging for another edge threat opposite Hutchinson. A team that waited and waited through the draft to take a pass rusher and finally grabbed Hassan late. And at the time, it felt like an afterthought, like, sure, grab a body, throw him in the rotation. But now Kelvin Shepard's calling out his energy and motor. Ray Agnew's praising his second effort relentlessness. And you've got position coaches saying things like, he's exactly what we want. And when you start hearing that kind of talk before the pads even come on, you pay attention because that's not coach speak. That's urgency. That's excitement. That's coaches realizing they might have something special on their hands, something they didn't expect. And in a league where late round gold is rare, this kind of early buzz could mean a diamond was hiding in plain sight. And let's be real, this team needs that diamond because Marcus Davenport is a walking question mark with undeniable upside but a fragile injury history. And if he goes down, the edge depth becomes one of the most critical weak spots on the roster, unless Ahmed Hassan is real. And that's what training camp is going to tell us because this kid is about to enter the crucible, the real proving ground. And if he emerges from that fire still standing tall, still winning reps, still turning heads, then buckle up because what you're looking at is one of the most important rookie developments in the entire NFC North and possibly the entire NFL. And what makes it even more fascinating is the contrast. You look at this edge class. Abdul Carter, Jalen Walker, Mike Green, Jamar Stewart, James Pierce Jr., all taken in the first round, all praised as can't-miss guys. And yet none of them produced like Hassan did in college. None of them dominated the backfield at that level. And sure, they've got size, they've got combine numbers, they've got scouting clout. But Hassan has production, hunger, and now a system that wants that kind of chaos, that kind of grit, and that kind of nonstop motor. And if you're building a defense that lives off aggression, off punch you in the mouth energy, that's the guy you want beside Hutchinson. And that's just one piece of this rookie puzzle. Because I haven't even gotten to Tate Ratledge yet. And let me tell you, Ratledge's story is a different kind of suspense. This was supposed to be a luxury pick, someone to develop behind a strong, stable offensive line anchored by Frank Ragnow. But then, boom, out of nowhere, Ragnow retires. And suddenly, that developmental pick becomes a must-start. A plug-and-play warrior who has no time to learn the ropes. He's got to jump in and hold the damn thing together. And that, my friend, is pressure you feel. And Ratledge, he might be ready, He might not, but either way, he's walking into camp as one of the most important linemen on the roster. And then there's the enigma of Giovanni Manu, a redshirt last year, but a physical freak of nature who looks like he was forged in a lab to protect quarterbacks. And if he takes that step, if he shows he's ready to contribute, that changes everything because it gives us flexibility, it gives us size, it gives us nastiness in the trenches that could take this offense to another level. And speaking of offense, I'll say this right now. I'm not worried, not one bit, because when you have Jahmyr Gibbs looking like a video game glitch, when you've got David Montgomery to punch holes in defensive lines, when Sam Laporta's already looking like a top 5 tight end, when Amon Ra is outworking everyone on and off the field, and when Jamison Williams is healthy and stretching the field. Jared Goff just needs to steer the ship, and Ben Johnson will hand him the map. And if you're still not excited, go watch Gibbs' 2024 highlights. Seriously, stop reading and go do it. And then come back and tell me you're not seeing the next superstar. And now, wrap all that up in the fact that this team is entering one of the nastiest, most brutal, most travel-heavy starts to a season I've ever seen. 2 home games in the first 6 weeks and the rest. At Cincinnati, at Kansas City, at Green Bay, at Baltimore. My God, the schedule doesn't care about your feelings. It's coming for blood. And that's why these rookies matter so much. Because in those first 6 weeks, it's not just about talent. It's about depth, resilience, and surprise contributors who can save games when the starters are gassed or sidelined. And if Hassan can be one of those guys, that's a win we didn't account for. And while everyone's focused on big names, I'm telling you, training camp this year is going to be defined by these guys, by Hassan, by Ratledge, by Manu, because they're the unknowns who could become irreplaceable by week 1. And if you're wondering whether this team can weather that storm, look at the back half of the schedule. Philly late, sure, but we've got LA, Minnesota indoors, Chicago at home to close it out. The weather isn't going to break us, not this year. And that's why I keep coming back to the defense. Because if Hutch comes back healthy, if McNeil finds that second gear, if Branch and Kirby and Campbell all step into year 2 like we expect, and if Hassan adds even a flicker of disruption on the other edge, you're looking at a defense that's not just good, it's dangerous. And in January, dangerous wins games. And let's not forget the mental side of this. The return of Ben Johnson to Ford Field as Chicago's head coach in our home opener. That's not just a game, that's personal. And don't let the polite media sound bites fool you. The crowd will be feral. And if we come out swinging and punch Chicago in the mouth early, that's a message to the entire league. We're not going anywhere. And for me, that's what makes this team so different this year. The ceiling's never been higher, but the margin for error is razor thin. And that's why every rookie matters,